Okay, our next topic for today is mind mapping. Mind mapping is something, it's a very old concept. You've been doing this in a classroom on a piece of paper sometimes, but lost over a period of time. But it is good to apply mind maps in almost all topics wherever applicable.
It's nothing new. I think sometimes when they initially register for my workshop, the teachers think, okay, visual communication and mind maps are something which we do and use everywhere. I just brought you in to give you some additional tips which can add on. I think this is a mind map which children are done on charts, on getting on sketch pens and things like this. Yeah, but you can always change, as I told you. Children, every day if you're going to bring charts and KG cardboards and ask them to do mind maps and that, they're going to get bored. So I said use different techniques different times. Plus you need a lot of stationery, you need pen, pencil, all that, and plus you need to tidy up the place and so on. But let's take a look at it when you can think about mind maps in the computer and also what are mind maps. In mind maps you have the basic four things that you need to do is brainstorm, organize, create and explore. This is the procedure which the child follows in mind mapping. Now, why is mind mapping important? As I told you earlier, future jobs, we do not know, people are pretty uncertain of what can be there. But you know what you see. Your human body, how many different systems are there in a human body? There are many kinds of nerve system, bone system, etc., etc. You have so many things. Still, people are researching on it and things like that. All of this, how do you connect all of this? Let's say you take up a satellite today, a satellite which you have, which goes on. If you look at it, so many wires, so many connections. If you happen to miss out something, it does not function at all. Same in your car, etc. So if you're talking about this, you need to have a proper mind map to tie up all these things. And that's where you have knowledge and skill. Here, what is actually happening is, in a classroom, we are always thinking about the content. We always think about the content. We give them the content, we expect the content. But we don't teach them the skills, how they can retain this content, how they can put this content together. So, when you're talking between knowledge and skill, in a classroom, most teachers, what today's teachers do is give them knowledge, take back knowledge. But they don't give the skill to acquire knowledge. Here is where some of the things that you can use to give the child a skill to acquire.
One of it is planning. Look at the mind maps in planning. Assignment plan, career research paper, goal plan, goal setting, makeup work, progress report, research strategy, website plan. So you have, and many more you can go on. As far as skill is concerned against knowledge, even the basic thing like languages like listening, speaking, reading, and writing is important. So when you're trying to inculcate that, you can use some of these type of mind maps, autobiographical events, biographical essay, book comparison, character, comparative analysis, definitions, friction writing, literary comparison, literary conflict, and so on. You see, you have a world of them, different ways in which a child can think. Very often we teach in a classroom. We fail to understand that the child needs to think and he needs to plan. See some of the things of planning, area of influence. If a child is using some methods of planning, you would notice he'll be able to think better, he'll be able to bring things better. You look at this comparison. When you ask them to compare things, we just put it in a white piece of paper and their mind is equally as white and blank. Now, if you are using a method like this, you would notice that he'll be able to bring out the similarities, he'll be able to make the differences, so whereby the impact of learning is higher. Problem solution, question formation, right tree, supporting idea, Venn diagram. These are some of the ways in which he can think. These are tools. Very often as a teacher, we begin to teach a child to use a pencil, a pen, and an eraser. If you can also teach them some patterns of learning, it'll make much sense. There are certain other mind maps which is there in social studies and social sciences, which I think if I have the time in the end, I'll show you, or I'll put it on our school SMIC tree and you'll be able to view them. These things come from a software, and I will introduce you to the software in the end. But apart from that, ready-made softwares, we also have the same power of working with mind maps using Word and PowerPoint. Now look at this. If you look at this mind map, it looks exhaustive. It may not be that difficult for a child. You start a child with a small object. He'll go from one object to another and to another, and you will see his vision grow big. And each of these objects, you can put text into them. All you need to do is right click and put text. I'll just quickly go through this in Word and show you the same is applicable for you in case of PowerPoint. All you need to do is go to Insert. There's a number of shapes here. You can choose whatever shape you want. Choose the shape you want and explore. Click on that and explore the drawing toolbar. There are several things that you can do to it. You see, you can change colors, or you can do the same thing like wrap text or bring to friend, send to friend when you have different objects. I can even right click on this object and add text. Let's say add text. Now, as you give a topic to the child, he's bringing out different shapes, different colors, different pictures. He's formed a vision, and then he can go to the next stage of building connections. I can even rotate it. So you notice how simple it is. I think if you get used to it in daily life, it's as fast as reading or writing. And you would love it to see your children doing this all the time. So I just showed you two samples, but you see this vision, how a child can achieve. Now going further into this, if you want to make it more creative, you can use a library of icon resources, which I can give you a link, and you'll be able to see that. These resources are categorized under different categories. You can go down and click on this. You can choose the type of category you want, business or characters or whatever. So when I click on characters, you see a world of different types of characters are coming up. Now a child can choose by right click copy, go to Word, right click paste. You see, I can size it or move it or do what I want. So your mind map is growing not only with shapes, colors, it is also growing with different kinds of ready-made icons. So all put together, your outcome of your mind map will be fantastic. Now, other forms of mind maps are timelines, organizational charts, planners, and graphs. In the earlier thing I showed you in Word, if you go there and say File New, you can type in these things, you might get different templates to use them.
Okay, I'm not just going to play these things, but if you're talking in terms of predefined templates, which you would like to use for early elementary school as well as middle school, there are two different softwares, like one is Inspiration, another is Skidspiration. You can use that kind of a software, and I will.
Medina found that lots of reading and training is hard for our brains. Reading takes time as we have to identify certain features in letters to be able to read them. Our brains interpret every letter as a picture. Reading lots of words creates a bottleneck, which actually chokes the brain.
Do you agree with it? Yeah? Okay. And this is Inspiration.
Comprehend, create, communicate, achieve more. Welcome to Inspiration, the ultimate thinking and learning tool. Inspiration's powerful diagram and map views support a full range of visual learning methodologies, webs.
A world of template there. And this is
Inspiration is the
more
visual
lower
way
rates,
to explore
more
and
powerful
understand
type.
words, numbers, and concepts. Designed specifically for students in kindergarten to 5th grade.
Okay, so those are two softwares. If you want, you can buy for the school and you can use it. But if you want to use without paying, you can use Word and PowerPoint with all the tools which I told you. And visual communication level 2, this is my next workshop which I'm working on, like presentation and authoring, video authoring and broadcast, digital storytelling and so on. So if you find the time, you can always come closer, come closer, come closer, come a little more closer. Yeah. Yeah. Hip hip! Hooray! Hooray! Louder! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
Thank you.
All right, thank you. See you later. If everyone can come in front of this video and scream as loud as possible, it will hooray for the end of the workshop.
Okay.
I can put it in the end of my clip,
All right.
which is I'm documenting. Use all actions. I think you won't come. Come this side. Come this side. Come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Come a little more closer. Yeah. Yeah. Hip hip! Hooray! Hooray! Louder! Hip hip!